Victor is done. Thank you.
Okay. So addressing the first one, for those who don't have laptop, I'm specifically recording this because I know some of them might be watching the videos after the class, so that they can know what we discussed at the beginning, right? So for some of us who do not have laptops, I would say that I'm so sorry about that. I'm very, very sorry about it. But I'm not gonna lie to you, it's absolutely quite difficult to do cybersecurity without having a laptop. To be honest with you, a bit difficult. Don't let me say absolutely, it's a bit difficult, right? You can get the knowledge, right? You can practice on your own, maybe on paper, to just see how you can simulate things, how things can happen. But you need a laptop. That is it. You need a laptop. You really need one, right? And one thing I would suggest that we do, sir, can we a dedicated group chat in WhatsApp for assignment and lecture notes with clear instructions? It must be locked on the notification. So yeah, us too, we can look into that. So you need a laptop. So what I would suggest you do is try to reach out to people around you that have and try to use that laptop to practice. Right. I think being just one or two persons that would have said, "Oh, let me buy laptops for you." But you guys are 50. I'm not running, our foundation has not gotten to that extent yet, right? So, if I think we are very few, then it would have made sense, right? So, what I would suggest is please try to get someone who has a laptop and try to use their laptop. That's all I can say because some of this you are practicing, and also I think you can download some mobile apps. I don't know their names at the moment to practice. I think they can still teach you like Linux commands. I think there are environments for that. Sorry. I think there are mobile applications for that you can use to practice some of these few commands. Somebody is asking that are we going to submit the PCAF assignment? Yes, you're going to submit. So, what's the deadline for that?
Okay, we discussed with the rep. Made them to understand that our deadlines are usually before every other class. The
Okay.
picker file, the assignment for the picker file came a little later, so we decided to give them, the leverage of trying to submit maybe after this class, right? Because that was what we told the rep. Ensure that once an assignment is given before the next class, make sure that you have all submitted. So the forms that we released, they were all done a little bit late, so we are giving them that consideration. Then, secondly, I discovered that somebody mentioned that they need a group that is locked. I think we have a general announcement group that is usually locked. And the only two people that have access to it is the rep, Miss Chine, and then her assistant, right? So I think we should all endeavor to follow up that group, right? So basically for the announcements, for the videos, and then for the assignments. The teaching slides as well will always be dropped. Thank you very much.
Okay. I think that the assignment part has been addressed. So let's always have a specific date for assignments, and so that that is going to be easy for us to manage and track. I totally understand that some of us might be having a whole lot of things to handle. You have challenge, you have assignment, but I think that is what would really make you learn, right? So when you dedicate that 1 month, I'm sure that by the end of 1 month, to look as though you've learned for 6 months because you picked here, you picked there. Like if you are really diligent and you are going through the notes, going through the slides, practicing the demos you're being taught, I think by the end of our program, you should just go for an internship. Or you probably find an entry level role, right? What you're going to learn in during this mentorship, I didn't know that before I landed my first internship in cybersecurity. I did not. I did not know half of it, right? So you guys are very, very lucky. So you just need to position yourself very well after this. And I'm telling you that you can land an entry level role or an internship after this. Someone say I would like an extra day to submit Thursday's assignment. So discuss it with Hostus. Hostus is gonna help. Okay, so any further question? I think someone is talking about maybe David, that David wants to, I mean, Hostus was mentioning David, that David wants to talk or something. So is the guy on the call?
Okay, Mr. David, I think if you're on this call, please kindly raise your hand so that we can recognize you as quick and we move on. We will be giving you just 30 seconds to, get you to raise your hand and then make your input. Thank you very much because we don't have much time, please.
All right, so if we don't have, if the person is not here, I think we can proceed. Sorry, I'm trying to join with my other laptop so I can share from there. I don't really like presenting with Mac. It's always, I mean, it's always sort of somehow. Um, Sorry, Mostus, can you help me share the link? Okay, I've seen it, don't worry. Okay, so for today's class, we're going to be considering another amazing topic, which is ethical hacking, and I'll be the only one teaching you guys today. All right, so there's no other mentor that is coming to teach, so it will be just myself. Oh, sorry, I think I joined another meeting now. Wait, sorry, I think I
Should I,
joined for the previous.
should I send you the link again?
I'm coming. I think I should have it. I'm on the group, right? So let me click on the one for today. Sorry, guys. Okay. All right. So I think I have it now. So I'll be sharing my screen very soon. So please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Um, okay, makes sense. All right. Welcome to another class, guys. In today's class, we're going to be considering ethical hacking and penetration testing. Uh, we have a few things to discuss. The first one is the legal and ethical framework that makes hacking ethical. The second one is the penetration testing life cycle, which involves like 5 phases that every pen tester should know. Sorry, I think this was not done well. The third one is reconnaissance, which is passive open source intelligence and an active scanning. The fourth one is exploitation tools such as Nmap, Metasploit, Bob Suite overview. The next one is web attacks, such as OWASP, Top 10, SQL injection, XSS cross-site, XSS or cross-site request forgery, which is CSRF. Then lastly, we are going to consider the post-exploitation, which has to do with the reporting and carriers such as EJPT, CEH, which is certified ethical hacking, and OSCP, which is offensive security, I think certificate for penetration or something. I can't really remember the full meaning. But going forward, we might see that. So now, what is ethical hacking? It is not a personality, it's not a lifestyle, it's a structured professional discipline, right? So, but before we know, if you know how I teach my class, you already know that before I teach you what it is, I tell you what it is not, right? So, what movies get wrong, right? In many movies, you see, hackings happening in a form of dramatic animations. That is not hacking, right? So, and you are going to see that hackers wear hoodies, right, to work in the dark. They will just be like, oh, who is this guy? Then somebody will be probably trying to use the elevator to enter into the room where the hacker was trying to do something. Then after that, you just see that, oh, after the person entered the room, then the hacker has gone. The hacker is lying under the table. He has copied the data, or he has cracked whatever he wanted to crack, or hack whatever he wanted to hack. Um, you just see all of those things, right? Sometimes they don't show his face. Sometimes you will see the person wearing a mask. That's not ethical, okay? And also it is not about really breaking things for fun, right? It's not like you just want to break things for fun. I think some movies have, somebody said Mr. Robot. Yeah, if you look at what that Mr. Robot guy was doing, I think he has a therapist and he was trying to hack into, her phone, into I think the therapist boyfriend's phone to know whether the boyfriend has a good intention towards her or not. So it's not really about doing something for fun or doing something to just get random information. It's way beyond that, and it is illegal by definition. Like, because in movies you will see that what's happening? In movies you will see that it looks like something illegal by definition, right? They will just say, oh, um the person hacked into so thing, acting so. No, it is not illegal, right? There are some parts there that are legal, because in most of the movies, what you see them do is that they use it for like illegal activities. Then what's not the real definition, right? So ethical hacking is the authorized practice of bypassing systems or system security to identify potential breaches and threats in a network. It is performed with written permission, emphasis on written permissions within a defined scope, emphasis on defined scope, with full documentation and with the goal of improving security. Now, you are doing it. So I don't know the person who always requests this AI companion thing. So you are doing it, number one, uh, before you can do it, you're authorized to do it, right? And how are you authorized to do it? So it has to be performed with written permission. You have to have like rule of engagement, probably some documents you sign with the person or with the organization you are doing it for. It has to be within a defined scope. They can tell you that what we want you to do should be on this part of the network, or should be on this web application system, or should be on this particular software. So it is always within a defined scope. And it is with full documentation. They give you the list of what to do, right? And you as a person, as you are doing that thing, you are documenting what you are doing. So that when you are reporting, you'll be able to report properly and show them what you actually did. And with the goal of improving security, right? So if you want to improve security, you consider ethical hacking. And ethical hacking is done, with the aim that we want to improve security, not to just break things and spoil things, right? Someone said, please, Mr. Victor, can one see the form to fill after submitting lessons learned on media? I don't understand what you're saying. Maybe hostels can help. Is it the form for also, I think you can just help us check the chat section and attend to people, because I think it will be distracting if I'm just coming in and going out. Right. So then we have like three major requirements that are non-negotiable. And the first one is written permission. And this has to do with verbal agreements, maybe email threats and informal understandings. And informal understanding is right. But I will even tell you that verbal agreements, even email threats, and some of these informal understanding that I just mentioned are not even sufficient. So, ethical hacking requires a formal and signed document that explicitly authorizes the testing activity. in Nigeria or in Africa, failure to obtain proper written documentation or proper written authorization, sorry, not documentation, exposes that particular practitioner, in this case, you now, to prosecution. Most especially in Nigeria, I think we have this Section 6 of the cyber crimes, which is, I mean, for prohibition and prevention. I think that is Act 2015. So, and the penalties is up to like 3 years imprisonment. So you don't want to joke with it. So you have to ensure that beyond verbal agreement, because before you guys even enter into it, there will be like some verbal conclusions, email threads that you guys have exchanged, informal understandings of of the work. But beyond all of that, even though those ones matter as well, beyond that, it's you have to ensure that there is a formal and there is a signed document that explicitly authorizes you to do any of those activities or to engage yourself in pen testing. So the second one is the defined scope. And the scope, this scope has to do with the scope document specifies um, um, the scope, let me put it this way, the scope that was specified in the document that you sign. Okay. So the scope will specify which systems, IP addresses, domains, and applications are authorized for testing. And this particular scope also specifies what is out of scope. They will tell you you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this. So if you are testing any system outside that particular agreed scope, even if it is accidental, what you are doing at that point in time is that you are constituting unauthorized access regardless of your intention. So before you do anything outside the scope, it's best to discuss it with them, right? So a scope document also, uh, you know, the testing dates, it will also have the times, the emergency contact procedures, and even the rules of engagement. So it contains all of those things. So it's not just about what you can test or what you can't test. Also, the dates and time, the deadline, the timelines are always specified there. And in case you need to contact person, somebody, maybe immediately or probably in the case of emergency, they will always put the contact person details there as well, and it will contain the rule of engagement too. So then the third part is report everything, every finding, every action taken, and even every piece of evidence must be documented because documentation serves two purposes. And the first one is that it produces the deliverable that the clients pay for, like what they actually pay for. So it's the deliverable that you're going to offer to them, right? And also the second part is that it provides the practitioner, which is you, with legal protection. Okay. Because a client who later disputes that, oh, this engagement, we didn't sign it, or we didn't do it, or this was not how you're supposed to do. So if a client later disputes the engagement or probably claims that the tester caused damage, you know, all of those things shouldn't, at least we have evidence, we have like the reports, things that you've done, right? So you can bring all of those things out because there are records of timestamps, the methodologies you used, and findings that you got when you did that. So everything will be included in the documentation. So, and that is why reporting of full documentation is very, very important. So as I mentioned earlier, under Nigeria's Crime Prohibition and Prevention Act 2015, unauthorized access to a computer system is a criminal offense. The maximum penalty under such, under Section 6 for such is like 3 years. Also, I want you to know that I think that there is always this part of imprisonment as well. Okay, yeah, 3 years imprisonment. Also, there's a part of fine, which is a 7 million naira. So you are going to do 3 years. Is it three pot of beans, or how did they call it? You're going to do 3 years. It won't be a portion in Jesus' name. You can do 3 years and 7 million naira. How do I put the fine? So you have to ensure that you have a proper this thing before you test anything. Now let's consider the three types of hacker. The cybersecurity industry categorizes hackers by the authorization they have. One, authorization, don't forget. And secondly, by the intent behind their actions. So the way we categorize the three types of hackers are by number one, authorization. Are they authorized to do anything? And number two, what is the intention behind the action? So, and understanding all of these distinctions is very, very important. And it's not just important only for professional clarity, it's also important for legal awareness so that you can know what you are doing, or you can know who you are part time. Because I know you would have been seeing some of these guys on X. And so I tested this fintech, this thing. They didn't consult you, they didn't reach out to you, and you are testing. But let's continue. So the first one is the white hat hacker, right? And a white hat hacker operates with full written authorization from the asset owner or from the company or from the organization. And their goal is to identify vulnerabilities and report them to the owner so that they can be remediated. That's the main goal. And it could, I mean, what they do can include professional penetration testing. It could even has to do with bug bounty because we have like bug bounty hunters as well, and all of these things must be something they are doing within defined program rules. All right. So even if it is bug bounty hunters, so bug bounty hunting rather. So it has to be within defined program rules. For those who don't understand bug bounty, who bug bounty hunters are, they are people that there are several platforms. We have like several bug bounty platforms that organizations will come out and say, we just launched so product or we just launched so software. We want people to test it and tell us the vulnerability it has. So they are going to upload every detail you need to have or you need to know on such a platform. And you will go there, you pick it up and then you try to do things within the confines of the guideline, or should I say, within the scope of that engagement. So you don't do beyond that. So you're going to test. If you find any error, you give it to them and then they pay you. They would have put the amount that they're going to pay you there. So, and that is why I'm trying to say that even if you are bug bouncing, like if there's a word like that, ensure that you are doing it within the defined program rules. All right. Also, uh, ensure that if you are a security researcher that is conducting, maybe disclosure or something, it has to be responsible because you are a white hat hacker. So, white hat hacker includes people like penetration testers, bug bounty hunters that are doing things within the defined program rules, and security researchers that are conducting responsible disclosure. And white hat hacking is completely legal and constitutes a professional career. So the second one is the gray hat hacker, and the gray hat hacker operates without prior permission, but with no malicious intent. I mentioned it earlier that in cybersecurity industry, we are categorizing the types of hacker by two things: authorization and the intent, like their intention, the authorization they have to do that thing, and their intention. So gray hat is in between this white hat and black hat because gray hat does not have permission, but is not doing it with malicious intent. And these are some of the guys you find on X or on Twitter that are saying that I just tested Flutter Wave. I saw that they're having this vulnerability. I reported it to them. All of those things are quite illegal. Though you don't have malicious intent, but you shouldn't just be doing it. If you do it in the West or in the Western world here, they can arrest you. Right. They can arrest you because they didn't give you the authorization to do that. So you need to be very, very careful. The fact that people are doing it online does not mean you can do it. If they get away with it, you might not get away with it. So gray hat hacker may discover a vulnerability in a system. Maybe this time around the system they were not authorized to test, right? So and they can report it to the owner. All right. Sometimes they can request payment for the finding that do something for the boys, something like that. But the intent is arguably beneficial, but the method is still illegal, right? So because they are doing it for your own good, though they might as well request money, and if you don't pay them, it's good because they've reported it to you, but it's still illegal, right? So courts have prosecuted a lot of great hat hackers who discovered genuine vulnerabilities because the unauthorized access itself is the offense, right? So not the outcome of what you did. Like the unauthorization alone, it's a problem. Then we have all these black hat guys. I don't pray you become these guys. So, and a black hat hacker operates without authorization and with malicious intent. and most of their malicious or what entails what the malicious intent entails include things like financial gain, espionage, sabotage, or disruption. They just want to do it for the gain of something, right? And this can include ransomware operators, it can include data thieves. These guys are corporate espionage actors as well, state-sponsored attackers. We have like several wars going on around in the world right now. So we have like different state-sponsored attackers who are trying to attack. They don't fight war alone with guns right now, right? I think I saw that the what's it called? The Venezuela president that the US. I don't really know much about that, but so I saw that probably Claude was used in the entire thing, right? So disclaimer, I'm not sure, but that was what I read. I saw that this Claude model was used, like the Claude model that was built by Anthropic. So black hat guys are like bad guys, all right? They are just doing everything to gain something. So and black hat activity is criminal under the laws of every jurisdiction. Emphasis on every jurisdiction. So it is a criminal offense. It is punishable under the Cyber Crimes Act in Nigeria as well. So then let's try to consider penetration testing life cycle. But before then, I can cite an example of, should I say, intent that does not define legality. Let's say we have a security researcher in Lagos that discovered a SQL injection vulnerability on the fintechs, maybe fintech customer portal, and he did this without prior authorization. So now, this particular person reported the finding to the company and requested a bug bouncing. All right, maybe that they pay him something. So now, the company, rather than paying him, they reported them to the authorities or reported him to the authorities. And the researcher was investigated for computer misuse because there are laws about this computer misuse as well, most especially in the West. And they reported, let's say they investigated and reported the guy they investigated the guy for computer misuse because the access itself, right, was not an authorized one, right? So regardless of how the finding was used or reported, the access was not authorized. So this case sort of illustrates why the white hat and gray hat distinction is not just merely philosophical or something theoretical. The legal brand boundary is always there. So because it is drawn at the point of authorization, not at the point of intent. So you need to be very careful of that. So now we have like penetration testing life cycle. Now, I want you to know that penetration testing follows a structured methodology. The life cycle that we are going to see now, or that I'm going to describe and explain to you, is derived from industry frameworks, including the penetration testing execution standard, which is the PTES, the OWASP testing guide, and the NIST guidelines. For some of you guys that you don't know NIST is National Institute for Technology, no, for Standard and Technology. So NIST guidelines for security testing. So these are where we get all of these things from. So it is not a rigid checklist, all right? So because experienced practitioners adapt to the depth and emphasis of each phase. They just try to, see how they can tailor it to whatever they are doing. And they can also, aside from they as well adapting, to different forms of it, they also try to adapt this life cycle to, how do I put it now, to the specific or any engagement that they are currently doing. But let's just try to consider a few of them. The first one here is reconnaissance. And reconnaissance is just like the process of gathering as much information as possible about the target before any active interaction, right? Before any active interaction with its system. So it is divided into two, which are passive reconnaissance and active reconnaissance. Reconnaissance is just like you are browsing online about the company. Maybe a company consulted you for an engagement and you are not reading about them. You are reading blogs. You are trying to see their updates on LinkedIn. What are the software they just released? What are the this? What are the that? Even if they don't consult you for that, let's say, for instance, you are a black hat person. I don't pray you are one, but let's say you are a black hat guy. So they just posted that, oh, we are just launching this product, we're just launching this feature. You do reconnaissance about it. You know that, oh, this is a new feature. So probably when they are launching this new feature, they might not have paid attention to some things or they didn't tested it well. So maybe they didn't test it well. Maybe I can just launch some attack and see if it works. So those are reconnaissance, trying to just get information about the company. Also, as I said earlier, we have like this is divided into two. We have like passive reconnaissance and active reconnaissance. And passive reconnaissance, uh, um, sorry about that, guys. So passive reconnaissance is the process of gathering, passive reconnaissance uses publicly available information, right? They don't use packets because they don't send any packets to the target. They don't interact with the target itself real time, but they just try to, gather like publicly available information on tech about, tech points, information on TechCrunch, on their own website, on LinkedIn, information that they can get from their employees, maybe through just random conversations. That is passive reconnaissance because you are not interacting with the target itself, and the targets would or might not even know that you are even researching anything about them. So we have like different sources for that, and that includes the public DNS records. We have like whois is WHOIS. We have whois registration data. We have search engine indexing. We have social media. Whew. Sorry, guys. I don't know why this code is getting too much like this. We have like social media. Um, Yeah, we have social media, we have LinkedIn, company website, job postings, and even specialized tools such as Shodan. Maybe I will show you that towards the end of the lesson. Shodan is just so Shodan is spelled SHODAN. You can see that under tools here. And it is just like a search engine for internet connected devices. So we can consider that towards the end of our lesson when we are doing a demo because we're still going to do a demo. So the volume of intelligence that can be gathered through passive reconnaissance is consistently underestimated because you can get information that would be very, very useful for you, even when you start trying to attack or trying to penetrate the system or the organization. So another thing I want you to pay attention to that I think some pen testers don't pay attention to is job postings, right? Because just postings alone frequently would review technology stacks. Like they will be telling you that we are hiring for React engineer and you must be able to do this. So you already know that, oh, React engineer, this, you already know the technology they are using for whatever that they are building. Or they are telling you that cloud providers who have experience in Google Cloud, you know that they are not using AWS. They are most probably using Google Cloud. So you know that whatever attack you want to launch would be, within or will be around that Google Cloud. So they can talk about database systems and even security tools that they are using. But for active reconnaissance now involves sending probes directly to the target system to discover like maybe open ports, running services, network topology, and then unlike the passive reconnaissance, active reconnaissance is detectable because if you are running anything or trying to hit the target directly, we have like firewalls logs. So firewall can log it. Intrusion detection systems can alert people inside on what you are doing, and some organizations treat it as a hostile act, right? So they can catch you and they can arrest you, and this is why active reconnaissance must only begin after authorization is confirmed. Now we have scanning, and scanning sort of builds on reconnaissance by actively probing the targets to discover open ports, identify services and their versions, detect operating systems, enumerate potential attack surfaces or list potential attack surfaces. And these are the things that are involved in scanning. And the primary tool used for this is Nmap, or for this phase is Nmap, and you can see that in our you can see nmap, or you can see that under the two section we have open vars. Open vars is just the free version of Nessus or free alternative to Nessus because Nessus is a paid one. We have Nikto as well. So these are just like different tools you can use. And vulnerability scanners such as okay, maybe I should mention OpenVAS and Nessus are vulnerability scanners. So they don't really do penetration testing, but they scan for vulnerabilities to show you, right? To show you the vulnerability. So you cannot take some steps, you can take some more steps to just ensure that you scan, how do I put it? You pen test or you penetrate after you have seen or discovered or detected the vulnerabilities. So, and the way they work is that they compare discovered services, all right, against like known vulnerabilities, because there's a database for known vulnerabilities that each of these tools are connected to. So they can be looking at this, oh, this service exists, then they try to compare the service to some vulnerabilities that can exist for that particular service. And if those vulnerabilities matches, or if the vulnerability exists in the service that you are testing for, then they can record it. Am I explaining very well? Please, I need feedback. Can I continue or I'm just, reading Arabic to you guys? So I really want to know if you guys are enjoying the class. Are you guys understanding what I'm explaining? Okay. All right then. So then the next one is exploitation. And exploitation is the phase where you identify, or let me say, where the identified vulnerabilities are used to gain access to targets. Like you've identified the vulnerabilities during the scanning stage, but at this phase, you just want to exploit it, right? Don't forget, we start with reconnaissance, gathering information, then we move to scanning, trying to do vulnerability assessment to know the vulnerabilities that exist. Then after that, you want to now exploit. And this is, the phase where most beginners want to quickly reach. I know some of you guys want to get here too. You want to quickly say, I want to test, because it is precisely why the what's it called preceding phases are so important, right? You are running reconnaissance, you are running scans, but you are doing all of that because you want to exploit. And exploitation without thorough reconnaissance and scanning is inefficient and it frequently fails. So you need to ensure that you properly go through your reconnaissance and go through your scanning. And we have some common exploitation tools such as Metasploit, which is a framework containing thousands of exploit modules. I think starting from maybe like lesson 70 something, when you guys get there, you start using Metasploit. But maybe after this, like, I can recommend that you guys go and watch those lessons on YouTube, set up your Metasploit, and try to practice some of those things in those videos, right? So they are amazing videos that you're going to learn a lot from. In fact, by the end of this program, if you do everything we ask you to do, if you are in pen testing, you should be able to pen test like a lot of things. All right, because even on this thing, on those videos, inside those videos, I taught you guys how to create a backdoor, how you can exploit something because we used Metasploitable, which is like the vulnerable operating system, and we use Metasploit, which is like the framework inside Kali Linux that we use to attack. Okay, so you guys are, I just hope you guys are set because it's going to be very, very fun, right? And as I mentioned, we have a Metasploit, we have Bob Suite. Bob Suite is for web application testing. We have SQL Map, and that's is used for automated SQL injection. We have Hydra, we have John the Ripper, and Hydra and John the Ripper are used for password attacks. I think we have Crunch and others that we can use for password attacks. Because Crunch can be used to generate some how do I put it, some word lists. Don't worry, some of those words might be too technical for you for now, but as a proceed, you're going to understand them better. So then the next one is post exploitation, and this phase determines the real impact of a successful compromise, right? Initial access is rarely the final objective of a real attacker. So after gaining entry to a system, an attacker will want to typically attempt to maybe escalate privileges, move laterally to other systems on the network, maybe identify and exfiltrate valuable data, and even establish persistence so that access survives a reboot or maybe password change. If you change your password or they reboot the system, you are still within the network. network, you are still on that system. So you are trying to create persistence. So that is what post-exploitation is sometimes all about. So if we have a penetration tester conducting post-exploitation and some of the what's it called capabilities to demonstrate should involve ensuring that okay, fine. How can an attacker, exfiltrate valuable data from here? How can they move laterally to other systems on the network? How can they establish persistence? Those are the things you might have to look for. So, and I want you to know that the goal of post-exploitation is not to cause actual damage uh, or to show that, oh, you can damage things, right? It is to prove that the damage would be possible and to quantify it to them. For instance, you can tell them that if an attacker gain access to this particular customer database, it's going to cost you guys $20 million. Why? Just because the customer database contains about 2 million records, and considering like the past, this and that, so from experience or something, and if you have something to back it up, this can cost you, or you can lose so amount of money, or you can be fined by so. You quantify it for them. Because some of the guys that are going to be reading your report are executives, right? Are those that are going to pull out money out of the organization's bank account and pay you, so or to fix those things. So they need to see it. You don't have to tell them the jargons or the technical aspect of things. You have to be very straightforward and very clear right from the beginning of your report, right, or of the report that you're going to submit to them. And the finding that says that an attacker could access the database server is strengthened immeasurably by evidence showing that the attacker could access the database server, reach the finance, maybe Teams file share, read customer records, extract like 50,000 row of personal data, cost them so amount of money, as I mentioned earlier. So then the next one is reporting. After you've gathered information, you've done vulnerability assessment, you've scanned to see the vulnerability that exists within the system or the network, you've post-exploited. The next thing you want to do is to report, right? So I think I've mentioned this. I've mentioned this maybe prior to now, but let me just dig deeper a bit. The penetration test report is the deliverable, is what you are giving to them. And this is what the client pays for, all right? Every other thing you are doing is just for you to create a very small document, maybe not so small because it can go as far as including appendix. You can have like over 100 pages, right? So you want to show them what is wrong, what went wrong, all right, what they need to do. And that's the essence of the pen testing, right? So a professional pen testing or penetration testing report would contain five components that will tell you now. The first one is executive summary, though we're still going to get to that. The second one is the scope and methodology. The third one is findings summary table. The fourth one is the detailed findings, and the fifth one is the remediation roadmap. So let's proceed. So now let's consider a real world case. So in 2023, a Nigerian security researcher submitted a bug bounty report to a major fintech company operating in Nigeria. Through passive reconnaissance, Google Dorking and Shodan, that was what the guy used. They discovered an exposed admin panel at admin.thecompanyname.com, and the admin panel had no authentication as well. So using only a browser, they were able to demonstrate full administrative access to customer records. They reported it responsibly, the company paid the bounty, no data was stolen, and no laws were broken. So now let's quickly consider a few things on some of those things on the penetration life cycle, testing life cycle that we just considered. So for reconnaissance, some of the things we use are Google Docking. All right, we use Google Docking query. I'll teach you guys how to do that towards the end of the lesson. So and Google for this, the way this works is that Google indexes publicly available or publicly accessible content from websites, including maybe files, directories, configuration data, and credentials that site owners never intended to even expose. So Google indexes sometimes, what's it called? publicly make some of these things accessible. And we call the process of trying to get some of those specific information from Google or from just browsing is what we call Google dorking, right? Dorking. And there's a way we write a query. So I'll show you as we proceed. And it is also called Google hacking because it uses advanced search operators to find the information that you are looking for efficiently. And then we have like common operators, I will show you that. Then we have like scanning, right? So another thing you can use for Google reconnaissance is Shodan. We have like the harvesters. Yeah, we have like a couple of other things. So then for scanning, so this has to do with maybe you can use Nmap. Nmap confirmed ports 80 open. So no authentication headers in the HTTP response. So these are just like things you can see in scanning. Then for exploitation, let's say you navigated to the URL admin panel, like, don't forget that this is now within the context of this. So if you're doing reconnaissance, you can use like the Google docking query by just using sites. All right. So you cite maybe victorakinode.com, then you type admin, and that can reveal that subdomain in case the subdomain exists. So, and then the outcome is that the company fixed the issue within 48 hours. Researchers received a bounty payout as well. So, but for scanning, MAP confirmed port 80 open, so no authentication headers in the HTTP response. And for exploitation, they navigated to that URL that they saw, which is admin dot maybe the company name.com or company domain name.com. And the admin panel loaded without credentials, which gave them full access. And after that, they reported with screenshots. So now I want you to always think like a client because you need to understand authorization before you touch anything. Let's look at this scenario. A company called FinTech Corp Nigeria Limited hires you as a penetration tester. They send you an email saying you're authorized to test our website. No scope documents, no start date, no end date, no list of IP addresses, and you start testing immediately. Can you imagine what can happen to you? So now let's try to do a quick discussion. What is missing from this engagement that could land you in serious legal trouble? What do you guys think is missing from this engagement that you think this thing though can land me into serious trouble? Clear scope, thank you. Any other thing? Written authorization, thank you. Any other thing? No written document, thank you. So you guys are formal agreement, thank you. You guys are correct. So now, if you find the vulnerability and the company denies hiring you, what protection do you have? What protection do you have? If you find the vulnerability and the company denies hiring you, what protection do you have? Tosin Aribisala, God will bless you. I love that. Is that prison protection? I love that. That makes a prison protection. Uh, because you didn't sign anything, right? You don't have any protection. So now name three things a proper scope document must contain before you start any test. Two portion of rice. Okay, so name three things a proper scope document must contain before you start any test. Number one, uh, previous reports. I love that. I love that. I love the way you think. A previous report, yeah, you need to know what they've done before, right? The extent what they fixed, what they've remediated, the extent at which, most especially if you guys are not the company they are using, probably you guys are new to that thing. So you want to know what they've done before so that you can, yeah, I think that makes sense. If they are willing to release, you can, get that. So the IP address, okay, makes sense. The list of IP addresses, the clear scope documentation definition makes sense. Clear scope contract agreement, rule of engagement should be written documentation, start date. Yeah, all of those start date, everything will be included inside the scope. Now, let's pick all those things one after the other. So let's start with reconnaissance, right? Um, so know everything about your target before you touch anything. That is what reconnaissance is all about. So for passive reconnaissance, you can use Google Dorking. For passive reconnaissance, you can use Google Dorking, as I mentioned. For Sorry, 1 second. So for passive reconnaissance, you can use Google Docking. So you can try these out right now. Just put sites and add victorakinode.com or add any website and say file type PDF, then in title config. So what you are trying to do with this is that you are trying to find exposed sensitive files without touching the server. So you want to see if they have like exposed sensitive server, available or publicly available that you can check. Also, you can use show them, which is like the search engine for internet connected devices. You can use the harvester. This can harvest emails for you, harvest subdomains, hosts, employee names, and open ports. All right, so you have Multigo, which is a kind of visual intelligence tool that maps relationships such as domains, emails, people, organization. So it helps you to map relationship with all those things. Then you have LinkedIn or maybe open source intelligence tools, and this identifies employees, their roles, and technology stack from job posting. Then for active reconnaissance, we have the Nmap, the pink trace routes, the NICTO, the DNS enumeration, the banner grabbing. So you can always read more about all of this, yeah, because of our time. Now, for Google Docking, so if you want to find all PDFs on a domain, you can use something like that. So maybe you type the site, the name of the domain name. Maybe we can try to do something on that. Yeah, let's try something on that right now. Let's say we are trying. Okay, so here they are saying that we are saying site target.com. So which targets can we use? So let's say site is victorakinode.com, and then we want to use like maybe the file type. Let's say file type, and for file type we can use like PDF or something. So you can just type your PDF here. Right? So and then you search for it, and you can see. Can you see that it's instead of trying to do unnecessary searches and all, it just brought me to coming from Victor Akande portfolio. Can you see? And it's showing me the PDF. Normally, if you go to my page before you can find this PDF, now go to my website. Go to my website, and I want you to go to my website and try to quickly find this PDF out for me. Where the PDF is, I want you to because I'm not sure you can even get it. Unless you probably come to me myself, I can't remember where I put the PDF again. I'm coming. So maybe we should click on connect with Victor. Let's try to search for it together and try to. We can't find it here. Can you see? Even me myself. Okay, work with me. Let me search for that. It takes me to the contact section page. So even me myself, I can't find the PDF because I know that the PDF was just a dummy thing that it's not even my CV, right? So now if you come here with just a single search, we've gone through all the stuff, we can't find it. But with just a single search, because we want to find the PDF that exist on Victor Akinwode's platform. But with just a single search, we're able to find it. So if you click on this, right, can you see that you saw the PDF? So the PDF was, I knew that then we're using it to test something. Maybe where I wanted to upload my CV there or something. Yeah, and I didn't remove it. But it is embedded inside code. I'm not even sure that it's something. Do you get it? So now you can see that with just that single search, it's brought out the file for me. A file that even while trying to browse through everything here, I can't find. You can see how Google Docking is, right? So, and in case you are searching for something specific as well, you can use Google Docking. So that's why we call it Google Hacking too. So now, if you want something like maybe you want to see whether a particular platform has an admin something, so you can see something here, site, then this, so in URL, then or in URL. So you want to see if the website or that particular domain name has any URL that has to do with admin, right? So maybe you want to brute force the admin page and you just want to. So can you guys mention any website? We are doing passive reconnaissance, so we are not criminals. So you can just mention like any platform that we can use this for to just see if they have how do I put it? If they have an admin this thing. So just give me the domain name. Give me the domain name, maybe a Nigerian brand, something. Um, Somebody said YouTube. Okay, maybe you can try youtube.com, right? Okay, so let's try youtube.com. So let's say youtube.com. Okay, let's say site. Then we have youtube.com. Okay, so now we want to say in URL, right? So, and we want to add admin, right? So because that is, that's what we want to find. We want to find anything that has to do with admin. But now let's run it. And you see admin.inc void admin. So it's bringing us anything related to admin for YouTube, right? Um, and we can try to open this. But I think this is just for a particular YouTube channel. So, but it's showing us things related to admin. So, if in case you want to change the domain name, you can change it, right, to like any other thing. What's the URL for Zenith Bank? Okay, tesla.com. And let's run it. And you can see Tesla Career, CAD admin. Some of them won't use that keyboard admin as the admin this name because it's for security reasons. The things that they know that you can quickly think of. Some of them, even the domain name they use, they will have to copy it because they can't remember it. They can use maybe Tesla admin WXTWE before. So like there are things like some organizations try to use, right? So yeah. Um Thomas, I'm seeing okay, you found admin dot this. Oh, nice, nice. So you found admin dot youtube.com. So but we are not finding that here. So maybe we can go to the next page. I don't know why. But we are not finding that here. All that we are seeing here are just like YouTube channels. But if you find that, I think that makes sense. So, but I don't know why we are not finding that here because I can't see it. So yeah, but that is just how to find. You can see that you yourself you were able to, find something which is like admin.youtube.com, which is quite nice. Okay, so that is just another way to do it. So in case you want to find email addresses from outside the official domain, probably LinkedIn, forums, Bridge, DOMs. So you can just try to use like the this thing you use at all right, you use at this uh at the domain name, then you say dash site, then the domain name. So if I want to find like let's say for my own website now, let's find some brands in Nigeria. I think let's try to use maybe brands like let me see, let's see, is it Money Point? Let's say moneypoint.com. Is that their domain name? Okay, that's their domain name. So let's use MoneyPoint as an example. We are doing passive reconnaissance, not active. So now for this, let's try to change this to moneypoint.com. So another thing I want to mention for you guys is beyond, you guys should be posting your classes too. All right, like a day after you've had the class, ensure that class is what you post. Do you get it? Instead of posting just the YouTube video, you can make two posts per day for that day. Maybe you make like the class post in the morning, then you make the other post in the evening. All right. So everything is just for you to even boost your presence online as well. So and I believe that some of your guys are already helping you engage and all that. Even though I do, even me myself, I've not really been active on LinkedIn recently, but when I go there, I try to repost you guys post, engage on it. It's really been a very hectic past 3 weeks for me also because we have a deadline this week, so we are really working a lot. So Now I can try to run this and see if I'm going to get anything like that. Wait, I'm coming. Site, sorry. Moneypoints.com. Right. So and in URL, okay, I need to do this. And what we are seeing is web chat. You can see DM prod this. So you can open this and see. So I think this is their because I think this is their ticket manager something, but I'm not sure they are even really using it because it's not really loading anything. Um, but if you look at the link, you can see that this is Money Desk, Ticket Manager UI, web chat, something, something, but they are not interested in that right now. So those are the results that we got for that. So if you want to do it and you want to probably change it to pay stack, you can do that as well. And you can see that they don't have anything, right? So these guys, they've gone extra mile to ensure that, it's what's it called? They don't, expose some of these informations to the public. So yeah, but don't forget, these are just passive recognitions. So please don't try anything funny with some of these platforms, right? So if we okay, I think I was saying there was something the other time. So if you want to do this, so we can let's try to copy this. And we can come here. So for this now, we can say at moneypoints.com. And here we say money points. And then we run it. And you can see different information. You can see money points group on LinkedIn. Uh, So moneypoint.com, okay, no, this is not what we are looking for. So, but at least we can see their LinkedIn and do. And normally, what this should do for us is that it should find email addresses from outside the official domain, LinkedIn for LinkedIn forums and even breach terms. So it's just going to find like email addresses outside that particular official domain. So if you want to find all login pages across the entire domain, you can use something like this, right? So maybe in URL, um, okay, let's use it here. In URL this, then we want to log in and you can now try to type money points here and then launch it. And it's going to show you the ones that have like login in their URL. So you can see account login and security, business banking, which is atm.moneypoints.com. I'm not even sure that this is explode. I mean, this is something because with what I'm saying, and let me try and open this because I'm seeing auth2 v2, so enable location, but I'm not interested in this. So it's looking more like maybe I don't know, maybe it will be a documentation for business banking. Login field verification. I think this is just like a blog. Um, so but we are seeing information as regards login for moneypoints.com. So that is how you can do such, right? But do not forget this is reconnaissance. Wait. I hope I've not missed a slide. I think I cut out a slide or something. Okay, I didn't. So that is how to do reconnaissance, right? We have like the one for you for this is the one we just tried, which is the login. If you want to get, you want to find directory listings, Maybe you want to check for exposed folders that show all files in a directory, you can use that command, you can use that query. If you want to find pages containing the word password, so you can use that query. So this kind of one can help you get like leaked credentials in plain sight. So if you want to find exposed database dumps and environment files with credentials, you can use this. And if you want to find backup directories that should never be public in the first place, you can use this. Now, let's consider this hosting challenge. You are hired to test a company. You only know their domain, which is fintechcorp.ng, using only free, publicly available tools, no active scanning. You have 5 minutes to list everything you can find about them. So yeah, I want to be seeing that so Money Point SOC is not noticing anything. They can't see that we are doing anything, right? Because this is a passive thing. Right. So now what's it called? So you have 5 minutes to do the list, to do the listing of everything you can find about them. So what are the things you think you can find about it? Let's say fintechcorp.ng, they hired you and they are telling that you should only use free and publicly available tools, and you must not use a scanning tool. You must not do active scanning. So you have 5 minutes to list everything you can find out about them. What are the things you can find out about them? I'm listening. Somebody is saying CRT. Okay. Things you can find out. I'm not saying you should give me the query. Things you can find out about him. So the person that mentioned CRT, what's the full meaning of CRT? So because this is a class, everybody must be carried along. You can't reach the site now because the site is a demo site. It's not available. I just use that as an example. It's not something you can find. Do you get what I'm trying to? I'm just asking that what are the things you can find? Like you just need to think about it. Oh, with the little we've done, I can find official domain. Okay, makes sense. I can find emails. Those are the things I'm expecting. You can find emails. You can find name, location. You can find publicly available directories, right? Via some files can maybe you can see some files there. Am I correct? LinkedIn page and company employees, yeah, makes sense. So now, tools that you can use right now. So you can use Google Document, you can use Shodan, you can use the Harvester, you can use LinkedIn to get the information, and you can use the OIS lookup to do that. So now let's try to quickly consider Nmap, which is like the network mapper. So prior to that, let me quickly start my Kali so that we can always come back to it as that is loading. So the Nmap is called a network mapper, right? And 1 second. So Nmap is called network mapper. That's the full meaning. So it discovers hosts, open ports, running services, operating system versions, and potential vulnerabilities. It is the first active tool that you run on any engagements because you just want to have information or have insight into what is happening on the network. So now, if you want to try, you can try something like this. I don't know if you get, how many of you guys have Kali installed now? If you have Kali installed, say hi. I believe everybody on this call should have Kali installed, right? And for those who are not having a laptop, keep learning, all right? Keep documenting stuff. Go online and watch videos on how they do it. So ensure that the knowledge is there so that by the time you get a laptop, you can quickly practice. Is that clear? Okay. So you can try something like this. Okay, many of you guys have that. So Nmap is pre-installed inside Kali. But if it is not, you can always install it. So if you want to do a basic scan of one host, you can run this. All right, this is going to show you open ports with default settings. It is quick and quite noisy because it's going to be giving you some information that you might not be interested in. Now, if you want to do version detection, like you want to do version detection for some services that are running on some of those open ports, you can run the -sv flag, like nmap -sv with the IP address, and then you do that. So then if you want to um, run a full subnet scan and you want to get like the service versions as well. So you're going to run nmap-sv then -o, and that one is going to scan all 254 hosts in the range, which is a complete what's it called, network map. So now for 254 hosts in the range, what kind of class of IP address is that? I think we've done classes of IP address. Hmm? So what class of IP address is that? Class C. Thank you so much, Mofe Fadipe. So that should be class C. Is it class B? That should be class C, right? And why is it class C? Because it's a /24 network, isn't it? So this is not a networking class. I'm thinking maybe I should start explaining that to you guys. But this is not a networking class, but I believe that you guys should probably just do more learning on that. I would have tried to do calculation for you because normally an IP address has 4 octets, right? 4 octets in the sense that if you look at 192.168.1.1, 192 one octet, 168 another octet, what's it called? One another octet and one another octet. So now where your network, we have like some of these octets, there are some that carries the network and there are some that carries the host, right? So if you are looking at this 192.168.1.1 right now, you know that an octet contains of how many bits? That's 8 bits, right? So if you're going to add 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, like 8 times 4, that's 32. So you know that the complete octet is 32. So if they're telling you that something is /24, if you look at this one here, where we mention this, right? You can see that the last one is .0, right? They are saying .0/24, right? They're just trying to say that, these ones are the one that will be changing. The last one is one that will be changing. So it can be from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. All right, because that is the host, right? So for /24, the first 3 octets will be for the network. So that will be 8 times 3, that's 24. And that is why we call it a /24 network, right? So if you are saying that /16, you are going to see that the first 2 octets will be for the network and the rest will be for the host, right? So 192.168. 192 and 168 will be for the network, then 1 and 0 will be for the host. If you're saying a /8 network, you know that it's only 192 that is meant for the network. 168.1.0 are meant for the host. All right, but in the real world today and all of that, many people use class C. All right, though there are organizations who still use like class B, class A, and all that. But we mostly use, I mean, many organizations use class C network or /C network or class C network, anyone. So what we are trying to say for class C is that it is the last octet that will be changing. They said the networking class was not easy. It is the last octet that will be changing, right? It can change from 0 to 1 because that is the host. Now, if you're not looking at it, the reason why they are saying that it is scanning 254 hosts, because if you say that, okay, fine, we're having like, we're having like um 32 bits, right? Because that would be 32 bits because each octet, someone is saying, Mr. Victor, please drink water. Is it that I'm fast or what? I mean, why did you guys ask me to drink water? Well, I'm sounding tired. Am I sounding tired? Okay, so okay, I'm yawning. Okay, okay. All right. So, I mean, it's stress. It's not even water. It's just stress. Like there's a lot to be done. Okay, should I pause the class and explain this to you guys properly? But if I'm pausing the class, you guys are going to go and read up on this because normally, that was why, okay, I should pause the class. Okay, yes, please. Okay, okay. All right, no problem. Okay, so let's try to do something. Maybe I can open a new something here. Let me open a new presentation. I hope you guys can see this, right? Um, so don't worry, I will explain it very well to you guys now. Okay, so now I'm saying that let's say we have 192.168. Sorry, please. Okay, so let's say we have an IP address which is 192.168 dot let's say 1.0, right? Or dot one. Let's just say dot one. Now, if I'm saying that this particular IP address. Okay, let me first explain. We have like five IP address classes, but the most used ones are the first three, which is class A, class B, and class C. But let me try and start with class A. So let's say class A network. And let's say the example we are trying to consider is this particular IP address, which is 192.168.1 dot, let's say 1, right? So now, for this particular one, I want to know if this is class A. So if it is class A, this 192 would be the one for the network. Now, let me break it down. I mentioned it earlier that this IP address has four octets. Octet means you are having 8 bits. You guys know octopus. It is called octopus because it has eight what? Because it has eight legs or eight hands or something. You guys know octagon. It is called octagon because it has eight sides. So when we are saying that something is an octet, we are trying to say that it has 8 bits. All right. Yeah, octo means eight. Thank you so much. So if you're saying that something, so it is having 8 bits, pretty much that is just what this means. So let me try and increase this and let me try and increase this up. So that is what this means in general. So the 192 is 8 bits, the 168 is 8 bits, the 1 is 8 bits, and the last one 2 is 8 bits. Now, so if I'm not saying that class A is a /8 network. /8 network. Why is it a /8 network? If each of these are like, 1 octet each, which is like 8 bits each. So what I'm trying to say is that this one is 8 bits, right? So if I'm saying that class A, I'm saying that this particular one is the only one for the network. The rest will be for the host, all right? Network is just like a it's just like a group of interconnected systems. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So now, for that, okay, let me put it this way. You are living in an estate. That estate has different houses inside, right? So if you are ordering, let's say you are ordering from Chowdeck, for those who know Chowdeck, or you are ordering from Amazon. Let's use Amazon because I think it's a global brand. Let's use Amazon. You are ordering from Amazon. when you are writing your address, you're going to say number so so thing inside so so estate. So if the particular maybe postman that is bringing your order is coming to your location, to your house, where will it first get to? It will first get to your estate. All right. It is when the person gets to your estate, will now say, okay, now that I'm inside this estate, where am I going to, or which house am I going to? Now, the network is like that estate. The house, I mean, or should I say the host here is like that house, because the host could be like a router, the host could be like a computer, it could be like a server that is using the IP address. But there is a network that all of them are connected together inside. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Is it clear? If it is clear, I want to see thumb up before I proceed. So now, if I'm not bringing an order to that your house, right? I'm bringing an order to your house. So as I'm coming to your house, I need to first get to your estate. So now, if I'm saying that my estate is a class A estate, so what you are trying to say is that you are trying to look at the IP address and say that, oh, since the class A estate and class A estate is a /8 estate. So you know that /8 will just be like the first octet, which is like the first 8 bits. That would be for the network. So that is like your estate name. So once you now get to the estate, you know that this one is for the house that you are going to. All right, which is 168 dot this. So this is for the house that you are going to. Be like, okay, fine. Okay, now that I'm at 192 estate, let me now go to 168.1.1 house. That is where I need to deliver this order. That is how everything works within computing. Now, let's say that is for class A. So for this now, we can have 192 as the network, and we have like 168.1.1 as the what? As the host. All right, which is like the house. Like the host is just like the PC, the server, the router, the printer, all right, that are connected inside the network. Now, for a class B network, so now for class B. So for class B now, it will be /16 network. Class B is /16 network. Is it clear? So now the postman wants to deliver an order, but this time around your estate name has changed. Your estate name has changed from 192 to 192.168. So if the postman is coming, the postman would first go to 192.168 estate. And after that, you will now look for the house address. What will be the house address here? 1.1. Is it clear? So for a class 16 network, the first two octets are meant for the network, and the last two octets are meant for the host. Is it clear? Is it clear? Is it clear? Okay, makes sense. So now for this now, I'm now going to be having 192.168.1. I mean, sorry. Then this would be like the network, right? And for the host, I'll be having what? 1.1 as the what? As the host. Now, for a Class C network is a /24 network. And that is what we were talking about here. That's what we're talking about here, right? That this is a /24 network. So now for a class C network that is a /24 network, which one will be for my, what's it called? Which one will be for my estate now, or for my network? 192.168.1, isn't it? So I'm going to say that these three aspects, though, like from here to here, they are for the estate. They are for the network. So if the postman is coming, the postman is going to be looking for the estate name 192.168.1. Is it clear? Is it clear? So then after that, we now say that, okay, now that I've gotten to this estate, let me now look for house number 1. So the person will now look for house number 1, and the person will now deliver the package to house number 1. So now for a class C, now you're not going to be having 192.168.1 as the network, right? then the host will now be one, which is just the host. Is it clear now? Okay, someone said you brought light to my darkness. I'm happy to do that. So this is how the class A, these are like the major ones you need to know, most especially as a beginner, right? So these are the class A to class B to class C network. And there's something we call subnet mask. Now, subnet mask, let's say an order is coming to your home. You need, before the postman will get to your house, the postman needs a Google map, right? To direct the person that now you are at the estate. Now, turn right, turn left, turn this. Subnet mask is just like that because there's something called subnet masks too. Now, subnet mask is carrying like the number that whatsoever person that wants to, or whatever, device that wants to deliver something to a particular device, it is that subnet mask that is going to indicate that this is the type of network this network is. This is the type of this one is. This is the type of this one is. And so the device that wants to deliver something would check and be like, oh, okay, so this part is for network. Because you should be asking yourself, how are they going to know that this one is for the network, this one is, because we can have different networks, right? So it's, we know that with the help of the subnet mask, and I'll show you why. So I don't know if you guys have seen something like 255.255.255, maybe dot zero or something. Have you guys seen something like that before? Have you guys seen something like that before? Or if you are seeing something like 0.0.0.255, right? So now, yeah, yeah, I will explain now. Now, this is a subnet mask. It is called a subnet mask. And as I said earlier, it's just like the Google map that helps the postman that wants to deliver the order to deliver it to the right house. Because the person will be like, okay, this is the estate. Because the person must be able to know that, oh, 192 is the estate name. No. 192.168 is the estate name. No. 192.168.1 should be the estate name. Then the rest will be like the house name. Or, this one should be for the network. I hope you know that network is what I'm calling estate and house is what I'm calling the host. Are we on the same page on that? So now that you already know that, you know that anywhere you are having 255, anywhere you are having 255, that means that that particular aspect is meant for the network. Anywhere you are seeing 255, that means that particular aspect is what is meant for the network. So if the router is trying to, maybe something is coming from outside and they want to deliver it, like, because router is the one. I don't want to go into that so that I don't scatter what I'm explaining. But the let's say the postman wants to deliver an order. Now the postman will now be looking at the Google map. Okay, this one is 255.255.255. Okay, fine. That means that the first theory would be what? Would be for the network. And the last one would be for the host. Like okay, I should take the subnet again. Subnet mask, okay, it's just like the map that helps the postman to deliver the order to the right estate and to the right house inside the right estate. All right. So it is what would guide the postman to say that this part of address is for the estate, and this part of address is for the house. This part of address is for the network, and this part of address is for the host. It's the subnet mask that will guide you on that. So anytime you are seeing 255.255.255, that means that the first aspect, the first three parts is having, what's it called? Is meant for the network. And the last part is meant for the host. So if you are seeing 255, so this is a subnet mask for a class C network. So if you are seeing something like 255, maybe dot zero dot zero dot zero, this is a subnet mark for a class A network, right? So if you are seeing 255.255, then dot zero dot zero, you know that this is a subnet mask for a class what? For a class B network. Is it clear? Is it clear? He said, how did they arrive at the figure? Okay, yeah, thank you so much. So now that now brings us to type of IP addresses. We have public IP addresses, we have private IP addresses. That's another story for another day. Because you can be seeing something like 10 points, this point, this. There are some IP addresses that are public facing. All right, there are some IP addresses that are private facing. So I will advise that you read up on that, right? Because that is not the essence of today's class. That's why we had the networking class before this, because I know that you guys are going to be experiencing some of this things. So now for this, if you are seeing something like this, okay, maybe I should just try to place them below each other, right? Okay. So now, if you look at this, we mentioned that the first, what's it called? The first octet here is meant for the network for class A. So now you can see that is why it is having 255, right? So we said the, what's it called? The next two here is meant, the first two is meant for, okay, you mean the private and public IP address. You can use 5 minutes to summarize. Okay, so there are ranges for them. So let me help you with it. So private and public IP address. So there are ranges for them, right? So if you look at this for class A, right? So there's something we call, like I said, DR. So don't worry about that. You guys can do that, on your own. So now for class A, if you are, let's say this is, you can see that they're saying that /8 network here. Why? Just because the first octet is meant for what? For the network, and the rest is meant for the device. So the rest can be changing, but that first one cannot change. Right, so and you can see the range for that is in between 10 point this. I will explain this one when we go back. So now this one is for 24 block. This one is for 20 bit. This thing. So this is a /12. There's an explanation for this too. So for class 12, because we have class 12, we have, I mean, /12, we can have /10, you can have /7, you can have /16, /17. How do you calculate that? That's another calculation on it too. But the basic ones are just like class A, class B, class C, /24, /16, and /8. All right, that's like the basic. But there's an explanation for all this, but don't let this confuse you. Now, if you look at the private ranges, I'm not sure they are not even adding the something here. So, um, okay, yeah, this is private IPv4 ranges. Yeah, this is for RFC 1918. So these ranges are reserved globally and can be used simultaneously by millions of private networks. So these are like private ranges. Now, from we have like for 10 point something. So for this type of IP address, this is class A, right? So and pretty much this is these are private IP what's it called, IP addresses. So from 10 point this to like 10 point whatever. So you have like 172 point this as well to like 17 something, because this is /8, this one is /12. So we have like 172.16.0.0 to 172.31.255 dot what dot 255. Then for this, then we have like 192.168.0.0, then this for /16. So then this is the range. So this is for IP addresses, right? So now the public IP addresses space encompasses every other IP addresses that is not reserved here. So IANA is just like the governing body that assigns the IP address, right? So I forgot the full name right now, but you guys can check that. But this is the governing body that assigns IP address. So if Google needs IP address and they want to say this IP address is meant for this company, it is IANA that does the assignment, right? So that is how that works. So I think I've been able to explain the ranges for you, and I think there are some charts here as well that you guys can probably just check out. They can help you to understand that better. Um, so yeah, what else? What else? Do you guys have any question? Any further question? Okay, so I think we can proceed now. Okay, so I was explaining something here. So I hope you guys understand now. So these ones are for subnet mask, and these ones are for like the network itself, right? So yeah. Okay, I think okay. Someone is saying what's the difference between IPv4 and IPv3? IPv4, IPv3 was not really deployed. It was just experimental, right? The ones that we really use is IPv4 and IPv6. So IPv3 was never official. So it was just, something they used for an experiment. So I think they just use it for some internal iterations. Um, during just early days, and it was foundational um, to this ARPANET thing, right? So it's not something they really use. Like they just use it as an experiment, so it wasn't deployed for public use, for public usage, yeah, something like that. So for company usage. So what else? What else? What else do we need to do? Okay, so I think there are no questions again. So now, if you look at okay, so let me now try to help you break this down, even though that's not the essence of our class today. So if you look at 255, if you try to convert it into binary, you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to get one in 8 places, right? So that means that if you're having, I told you that for each of the octets, like we're having like 8 bits, right? So the rest for zero, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is for class A subnet mask in binary, right? So for the rest, you are going to have 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then dot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is for class B, right? Subnet mask. So if you want to do for class C, you are going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is it clear? Now, how are we getting one and this thing? Convert 255 in binary. If you convert 255 to binary, you are going to see that you are going to get a perfect one in 8 places. And that is why we are using some of these 255.255.255. You're going to get the perfect one in 8 places. So now, how do they now get maybe something like /16 network, /so network, or let's say /12 network? And they are saying that uh the okay, let's say we're having /17 network. How are you going to calculate that? Because it is not for this now, you can easily look at it and say, oh, for /2024 network, that would be like 256 IP address range. I mean, the number of IP address is 256 because if you do 2 raised to power 24, you should get 256, isn't it? You should get 256 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. 2 raised to power 24, you should get 256. So if you do 2 raised to power what was it called? 2 raised to power 8, you should get how many like that? 2 raised to power 8 should be what? 2 raised to power 8, can you help me do the calculation? Can you help me do the calculation? Can you help me calculate? Okay, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, wait, let me calculate this. So this should be 32, that is 5. Times 2, 64, that is 6. Times 2, 128, that is 7. Times 2, okay, 2 raised to power, sorry, 2 raised to power 8 is 256, right? Because you are trying to calculate the number of hosts, not the number of network. So 2 raised to power 8 will be like 256. So if you look at this now, class C, the reason why you are having the reason why we are having 256, because we mentioned here that we are having 254. I'm coming. This thing should load now. What's happening? So here we say that we're having like 254 available and come here. Scans all 254 hosts, right? So, and the reason why we're having this is that for every IP address range, or for every IP address range, even for the host side, the first one is for, I think they call it network bit, and the last bit they call it for broadcast address. You can read more about it. So they said for the first one, for the first bit for the host, they call it the network bit, and the last one for the host, they use it for broadcast address. So it is only 254 IP addresses that are usable that you can assign to devices, right? It is only 254 IP addresses that you can assign to devices to use. And that is why we are having 254 hosts. Is that clear? Because they might be, okay, I mean, because from here, merely looking from here, this is like the number of hosts that we have. Like this is just like the host that we are having for Classy network, right? So it's just one octet. And one octet is 8 bits, and 2 raised to power 8 is 256. That means that we should have 256 IP addresses for Classy network. So which means that you should be able to assign IP addresses to 256 hosts or 256 systems or whatever on your network for Classy network. But considering the fact that we need 2 bits, one for the network bit and another one for the broadcast address. All right. So we need those 2 bits. Those ones are default. They don't use them. So the only usable ones are just the 254 that is remaining. So you are going to say 256 minus 2, will give you the number of the ones that are usable. Now, let me ask you a question. For a class B network where we are having just two, how many number of IP addresses are we going to have? I'm listening. How many number of IP addresses are we going to have? It can't be 256. For class B, it can't be 256. That should be 2 raised to power what? 2 raised to power 16, isn't it? Is that not 2 raised to power 16? Because you are having 2 octets for the host. Are you getting this? You're having 2 octets for the host. For class C, you are only having 1 octet for the host, which is just this last one. The remaining octets are meant for what's it called? They are meant for the network. Kirsten, it can't be 14. It'll be 2 raised to power 24. 2 raised to power 24 is how many? You guys should do 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, like in 24 place. 2 raised to power 24 is how many? 2 raised to power 24 is how many? Thank you so much. That's 16 million plus. So class B is going to be having 16 million plus IP addresses, but the usable one will be 16,777,214 because you are going to remove the first one for the network bit and the last one for the what's it called, for the broadcast address. So the usable IP address for any of the classes of IP address is always 2 raised to power the number of octets assigned, for that class of IP address minus 2. That is the formula for calculating the usable IP address. But if you want to know the total amount of IP address, you are going to say 2 raised to power the number of octets for the hosts. Is it clear? So now, if you now want to calculate for that of the what's it called, for that of class A, what will be the number of IP addresses? So you are going to be seeing millions, like in millions, because you're going to have 2 raised to power what? That will be 2 raised to power 24, right? 2 raised to power 24. That will give you what? Wait, wait first. The last one we did, that should be 2 raised to power 16. No, it's not 16 million. It is 65,530. Ola is the one that is correct. You guys are doing the wrong thing because it is 16, it is two octets, two octets, two octets. That should be 16. So if you do 2 raised to power 16, it will give you 65,536. But if you are now moving to class A, which means that we're having like 3 octets, this 3 octets is meant for the hosts, right? So that is where you're going to do 2 raised to power 24, and that is what will give you 16,777,216. And the usable one will now be 16,777,214 because you're going to remove 2 from it. Is it clear now? I think I've explained it. I said the first bit in the IP address is meant for the network. For the host has something is called network bits. And the last one is meant for the broadcast. They call it broadcast address. It's meant for the broadcast address. So you can read more on that. So that is why we are removing those two. Those two are not usable. It's just like they are saying that God exists. All right. So God exists. God is God. It's just like that. So they use it for network connection and broadcast address. So those are the things they use the tool for. So, and that is why we don't assign them to any devices. It is safe to say that we are considering the host here. Yes, we are considering the host. That's what we are considering because we are trying to ask ourselves that how many devices can have an IP address within our organization? That's what we are trying to say here. Like how many devices can have an IP address? So if you are maybe working with a company like Google that have like maybe millions, I don't know if they have up to million employees, then you should be considering class A network. Why? Because it has a larger range of IP addresses. They can assign to Kunle, assign to Tola, assign to Kirsten, assign to Ola, assign to Faith, assign to Christian, assign to their server, assign to their router, assign because they are going to have a lot of devices. You can't compare that to a class C network that is just slash 20, that is just what's it called, slash 24, and that is just having like 8 bits for for the host. That would be 2 raised to power 8, and that would be 256, which means that they can only use 254 of that 256, and assign that to the what's it called, to the devices within their network. Is it clear now? I think you guys should understand networking now. So this is how to calculate it. So now, if you are now seeing something like slash 12 or slash 15 or slash 23 or slash this, how do you do that? So for slash 12 now, you already know that the first 8 is 1. So, right? So then you are going to say 8, then you say 9, 10, 11, 12. So then you remove all these 4, right? And then you replace them with, sorry, what's happening? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you replace them with 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So you can come here and I'm coming. Let me try and adjust this thing again. So now for this, we're having 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you replace them with 1, 2, 3, 4. So with this now, this is a slash 12 network. So in simple term, how are we counting the slash 4 network? We are counting the number, how are we knowing the what slash network that it is? You are counting the number of ones it has. So for this now, this is a slash 12 network, which means that the entire of this is for the network and the entire of this is for the host. So to know the number of IP address ranges that you can have here, you're going to say 2 raised to power, this is 4, this is 8, 8, that's 16, 16 plus 4, that's 2 raised to power 20 instead of 24 because you've removed you've removed some 4 bits and you've given that to the host. You've given that to the network. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I hope you guys understand things right now. So let's now move back to our what's it called? What we were doing before. So for this, I think I'll just try and then try to run some scans for you guys, and we're going to end our class there. So, but if you want to run vulnerability scan inside Nmap, that is when we use, SV dash dash scripts, then use one because we have something called NSE scripts inside Nmap. NSE scripts are scripts that you use to maybe run for vulnerabilities or to just do like different things. So we have some that are not aggressive, or should I say that are not that harmful. All right. If you want to get, so like we have like different stuff. If time permits us, I'll show you. If time does not permit us, all the videos are on YouTube. You can watch all of that. So now if you want to read nmap results, so this is what it looks like. But instead of me showing you this way, let me just quickly try to do the demo for you, and from there you can pick things up, right? So let's try to go back to our nmap. Let me reshare my screen because I'm only sharing this thing right now. Okay. So can you guys see my screen now? So I need to come here. So then we open like our, what's it called? This drive. So now to run nmaps, because I've mentioned a few things, on this thing before. So I told you that if you want to run anything nmap, like if you just want to run for the default one, you can just use nmap, then the name of the IP address, and you are good to go. Like you are really good to go, right? But at the same time, if you want to maybe do like some more interesting things, you can try to add some of those flags to it. So to confirm that you have nmap installed, you can run nmap dash dash version, right? And it's going to show you the version of nmap. So that means that you are good. So if you don't have that installed, you can run sudo first update your machine apt update. All right. So then if you've done that, or if you are done with that, you can now run sudo apt install. Then you can say nmap and you add Y. Y is just to confirm anything that wants to happen. That okay, maybe I say anything that wants to happen. To confirm like any information that is that can be shown to you guys to you when you are running that. Sometimes if you are installing a software, you can have, do you want to do this? So you just want to say yes to everything. That's why we are adding Y. So we want to say yes to any question that you want to ask. So and after you have run that, then you are good. So now within our system now, we have a local host, right? So we have our PC. Our PC is our local host. But one thing I want you to know, you need to know how to check IP address for your machine. I think I've taught you guys that under Linux when we are doing Linux. So and to do that, you can use ipconfig, and it can show you like the IP address. And if you look at the under ETH0, you can see the IP address here, which is 10.0.2.15, right? So that's the IP address. To clear, you can type clear or use Control L, and then it clears your screen. So now let's say we want to run nmap. So we want to say nmap localhost, right? So what we are trying to do here is we are trying to get all the open ports on my local computer, right? So now you can see nmap localhost. You can see that you can see all the ports that are open, port 80 and port this. This one runs HTTP and this one runs MySQL. So the IP address for my local host is 127.0.0.1 because that's the loopback address. If you don't want to use the word localhost, you can use nmap. Sorry. So this thing is, you can use nmap, then 127.0.0.1. Some of you guys that are engineer will know this, right? So it's for your local host. So and it's going to still do the same thing. So in case you want to run for multiple hosts, there's a way you can do that for multiple hosts. So you can run nmap. Then let's say you want to run for local host like 127.0.0.1, and you want to add more IP address, you can just say 192 dot, let's say 168.1.1.1, which I think should be for your router. And it's going to, do for the two IP address. So this is done for this is for the first IP address, which is the local host, and this is for the second IP address, which is for this. And there are different states that you can see. You can see open, closed, and filtered. Open means that the port is open. Closed means that the port is closed. Filtered means that the port is behind the firewall, all right, or something is blocking the port and you can't access it. So that is what those are the three states that you can see when you are running and for an Nmap scan. So, and if you want to run for an entire network, you can just run maybe nmap, then say 127.0.0.1/24, just the way I showed you earlier, and you can run anything, though this can take time because it's going to scan for all of the, you can see that it gives us like some more results, right? So it's going to scan for all of the IP address ranges within that particular network. All right, so class slash 24 network, you already know that it's a slash C network, right? So yeah, please let's have the recording. Okay. All right, no problem. So that is what you can see, that this gives us like some more result because it's going to scan for each of those IP address, all right, within that particular network, right? So it's going to search for each of them. So that is what a command like this does, all right? So if it is /16, you can add /16. So in case you get into an organization, you want to run scan for all the IP addresses within a particular range or within their network, you can use a command like this. Okay, so let's say you want to do like host discovery. Maybe sometimes you just want to know which hosts are alive. Like, okay, are these hosts alive? The same way you can ping an IP address. So you can try to just use SN and then you add the what's it called? You add the IP address. You can say 127.0.0.1 slash, let's say 24, right? So, and it's going to run, then it's going to like ping each of those. Can you see this one is up, this one? So it's going to ping each of the IP addresses and tells you the one that is up. So, and it's this one, you can see that we are seeing that 256 IP address hosts scanned. So then, yeah, and all the 256 is up, right? So this one is not doing any port scan. But if you want to do port scan for some specific port, let's say you want to search for SSH, you want to scan for SSH port, which is port 22, then you run nmap, then you say -p, then 22, and you can add like localhost. You can do this with Metasploit table as well. The videos are on YouTube. You can check that. They are on all on our channel. But I think before you get to that, it will be like in some days. And you can run this, and this is going to, you can see that it's searched for that particular port and it's telling us that the port is closed, right? Which is port 22. And it's indicated in the services that the service, excuse me, the service that port runs, which is SSH, right? So yeah. You can search for many ports as well. Let's say beyond port 22, you want to add like more ports. You can just separate it with a comma and say port, let's say port 80. 80 is meant for HTTP. Let's say you want to search for 443 as well, which is meant for what's it called? HTTPS. And probably you want to search for maybe port 56. I think that one is for DNS or something. So you can just run everything and it's going to bring out everything out for you. So this one is saying, can you see XNS auth? That's the service running on this. It is only HTTP that is open. The rest are closed, right? So yeah, that's it. So if you want to scan maybe for a range of IP addresses using nmap, you can use nmap and you can add -p, all right? So, and you can say maybe between 1 to 100, and you add the name of the IP address, maybe 127.0.0.1 or maybe localhost, right? And you can run it, and it's going to scan through the entire thing and tell you the one that is open. So it's going to scan between 1 to 100, that is 127.0.0.1 to 127.0.0.100. And it's going to bring out the ones that are open for you. But if you want to scan all the ports on that particular network or for that particular, let's say network, you can just use -p, then, sorry, -p dash, all right? And you add localhost or the name of the IP address that you want to scan for, right? And then you run it. And this is going to run like a total scan. So, I mean, a thorough scan on everything. You can see that it's saying it gives us like every port that are open, right? Or for that particular IP address. So you can see port 80, port 3306 running MySQL, port 83 this running this, and for this running unknown. So in case you want to run your scan in a you want to run your scan in a fast scan mode, you can use nmap, right? And use -f. Okay, then you say localhost, right? And then it's going to run it very, very fast. If you want a verbose output, that is, you want to see what Nmap is doing in real time, step by step, you can run nmap, then -v, then localhost. And this one is going to be showing you like things step by step as it is happening, like step by step, step by step. And you can see that it says starting this, initiating this, scanning this, discover, completed. You can compare that to this, right? So this one just ran the scan and they showed you the result. But this one is giving you like step-by-step information about, what the scan process looks like. So that is that for that. So if you want to do service detection, just the way I mentioned in our this thing earlier, so you can run nmap-sv then localhost, or the IP address that you want to run. Don't forget that localhost is the same as 127.0.0.1. Then you run that, and then it's going to run the scan, detect the services, and also it's going to detect like the versions of those services. So from there you can see whether the service is vulnerable to any attack, or whether the service is outdated, and whether maybe there are some publicly available exploits that you can use for that. So it's going to give you like all of the information as regards that. And you can see this, you can see that here is providing us a version for this, but it didn't provide a version for MySQL. But at least you saw the version, the Apache version that HTTP is running on. So you can now go ahead and say, what are the vulnerabilities attached to this particular version? Okay, are there some patches, are there some vulnerabilities attached to it that are recent? Maybe even if you can get 0 day, because 0 day are just like vulnerabilities that they just discovered and there are no patches for, right? So, and you from there you can start attacking, but that is for bad guys. But you are not a bad guy. So yeah. So in case you want to maybe scan operating system, you want to probably scan to detect operating system detection. So for this one, it requires sudo. Sudo means super user do. I mentioned that in the last class already. So then you add nmap and you add O in capital letter, and you add the local host or the IP address that you want to scan, or the network that you want to scan there. And this one is going to ask for password, and you can type in the password and then run it, right? So, it's going to continue like that. I mean, it's going to start, and it's going to search and detect the operating system and more. So we also have for aggressive scan. You can see the information that we are looking for here. So we also have like aggressive scan, and we use -a for that. So that one would do a lot of scans at the same time. It will enable operating system detection, version detection, script scanning, trace routes, and need to do all of that at once. So, and to do that, you just need to change the A there to, I mean, the O there to A, and then you run the scan, and yeah, the scan will run. So in case you want to save your scan to let that run, but in case you want to save your scan to a file, to a particular file, you can use the -on flag, and that will save all of your results into a particular file. All right. So, but this can run, but let's just, okay, it is already done. You can see that it's run for everything. You are seeing like information. You can see the HTTP title, which is you are a fool. You can see the HTTP header. You can see the version number. You can see for HTTP, you can see like all the informations about operating system, about all the information as well, like previous service detection, trace routes, everything. It will show you if you run it in aggressive mode. So let's say we want to save the result of our, let's say we want to run service detection, right? So SV, and then we want to save the result. So I want to save the result inside, let's say VA Mentorship, then we want to say .txt, right? So we want to save the result there. And then we run, oh, sorry, we didn't add IP address. So, and for this, let's say we want to add, um, sorry, IP address. It has created the file already, but we can overwrite it. So we want to add like IP address to this. So let's just say after ASV, we have 127.0.0.on. Right? So, and then we run it. So it's going to run the scan and then save the result inside this particular file, right? So once it is done running, you can then go ahead and check for that. So this will save your results in a .txt file. So if you do ls, it is done running. You should see something like Victor Akinode.txt. You can see it here. And if you run cat Victor, right? I say, okay, VA mentorship, sorry. VA mentorship, all right. You can see that it is providing cards is that you are trying to output like what is inside. You can see that it's providing this, right? That well, that was printed on the screen. So this is useful because if you are running scans, you have a lot of results. You can't just be copying and pasting. You can just be writing to a file like that, writing to a file, writing to a file. And once you are done, you can now go back to those files and see what you are writing. So most especially if you are using batch scripting and you're automating your scans, there's a way to do that. So you can just be saving your results to a file. You can even go home and your scan is running. And when you get back to the office the following day, you open some of those results that have been exported and you see your scan results there. But let's say you want to save a result in like different format because Nmap can save in different format. We have .nmap, .xml, .gnmap, which is a greppable one, .txt, and many others. So if you want to do that, what you just need to do is just to let's say you want to run for service detection. So instead of using -on, you are going to use -oa. So it's going to save like in different formats that Nmap supports. So you're going to see VA mentorship, .gmap, .nmap, .this, .that. And yeah, we've come to the end of our today's class. So yeah, any questions? I know time has gone already. So I know you guys have questions. Maybe you can drop it on the group. So yeah, so for this now, if you run ls, you should be able to see like the files in different formats. You can see .txt, .gmap, .txt. It was because I added like .txt in the command. So that's why we have that. So if you see, you can see that. But if I didn't add this .txt and I just wrote VA mentorship, it's just going to export the format for me, maybe vmentorship.gmap, vmentorship.nmap, vmentorship.xml, and in any other format that Nmap supports. Um, but yeah, you can try that as well. But this is more effective, Ola, so it is more effective and all. So if that is, if you can try that, I don't use that. So what I use is I use my Kali because I prefer technical stuff. Right. So and I've never used that before to be honest with you, but you can try it if it works for you. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so guys, that's all for this lesson. We're going to be stopping the recording now. So please enjoy the rest of your week. If you go through the slides, we have a section for assignments. So just scroll down. All of those things are well explained. So I've mentioned some of those things. Though there are parts for SQL injection and just try to do some of those things. And yeah. So for these are like the challenge I will give to you. So like go and practice this and you're going to be submitting it, right? So normally we should do something on SQL injection, also beyond what we have, but we have limited time. And I had to spend a lot of time on explaining networking to you guys. All right, guys, so that's all for now. Please enjoy the rest of our what about our demo? Which demo is that? I don't understand what you mean by that. So because we are done the demo, we are done some demos already. So yeah, guys, enjoy the rest of your week and bye for now.